This is a plot of land. A low-grade spirit field that can only grow regular spiritual rice. It was destined to become barren over the ages. That was its ultimate fate. But from the moment I first laid eyes on it, I spent everything I had to rent it, and planted it full of cheap, ordinary spiritual rice. People secretly laughed at me for being a fool. But what they didn't know was, while harvesting the spirit rice, I could also reap things they couldn't see. Right then I yawned, and feeling exhausted, rubbed my bloodshot eyes, grabbed my spirit cook gear, and got ready to head out. Before leaving, I glanced over at my neighbor's yard, and felt a burst of frustration. The neighbor is a young female cultivator. Quite attractive, actually. But she brings home male cultivators every few days to spend the night. Last night, it was noisy all night long. Once I have some snacks. Even if I can't afford a new place, I have to set up a soundproof array first. I gritted my teeth and silently swore to myself. Last night, while I was meditating and cultivating next door, I got so worked up my blood was boiling. With no other choice, I had to chant calming sutras all night. It took 1,000 recitations before I finally settled my mind. Thinking about all the work left in the fields today, my mood only got worse. I've been in this world of cultivation for nearly 5 years now, still stuck at the second level of key refining. With my 4-element spiritual root aptitude, without something extraordinary happening. Even with endless cultivation, I could never reach the foundation establishment stage. Now all I can do is rent 3 acres of spirit fields and work as a spiritual farmer. And today is the spirit rice harvest day, which also means the authorities will be sending someone to collect the spirit rice tax. Up early today, old Chen. Looks like this season's spirit rice is doing well. On the way to the fields, in the alley beside me, walked a cultivator with the look of an old hand. He greeted me with a big smile. His cultivation aura was much stronger than mine. 7th or 8th level, key refining. Morning, old 9. Running into him, I couldn't help but show a faint smile, then sighed. Don't even mention it. You know, I'm just 2nd level key refining. My spirit rain technique is just at the beginner stage. I can barely use it a few times a month. This man is called Saiju Wu. Everyone around here calls him Old Tsai. He's a real veteran in this neighborhood. By the way, Old Tsai, with your 7th or 8th level key refining, plus the advanced rain technique, I bet this year's harvest will be pretty good, huh? I couldn't help showing a bit of envy in my tone. The rain technique is a spiritual mushroom magic taught by the sect. It disperses spiritual energy into the air, forces rain to fall. Mushrooms nourished by the rain are not only protected from pests and rats, but get a huge boost in yield. I've practiced the rain technique for half a year, but it only covers 20 feet. And my spiritual power doesn't last for even half a stick of incense. Even someone's urine covers more area than my rain. Hey, it's not bad. I guess it's barely enough. After we finish harvesting today and turn in our taxes, how about we head over to Rujuan Pavilion in Fang City for a drink, just to relax a bit. Old Tsai smacked his lips as he replied, sounding vague and cunning. Forget it. Those gold digger places aren't for me. I shook my head, mainly because I'm broke. Old Tsai clicked his tongue at me. Sad, man, you really are no fun. There's a long future ahead. It's fine to enjoy a bit every now and then. They say, enjoy the wine while it lasts. For guys like us, why care so much about pursuing some long-lasting immortal path? Better to wake up from the dream early and live free. Fine, but you're buying then. Get out of here. Go on, beat it. In no time, a misty range of mountains appeared ahead, surrounded by clouds. The mountains were vast. Waterfalls cascaded down. Mist spread all around. On the terraced hillside, hundreds of acres of spirit fields were neatly laid out, orderly and organized. The golden spiritual rice shone in the sun, swaying gently in the breeze. The sweet scent of rice filled the air. Bird flocks hadn't even landed yet when a loud bang was heard. From within the spirit fields, the simple grass, puppets shook silk ribbons in their hands, blasting sharp sound waves all around, scaring the birds away. The two of us followed the mountain path and entered our own fields and started working. Inside the spirit field, I stared eagerly at one of my plots and couldn't help but twitch my mouth. About half an acre of spirit rice there was still green, looking totally out of place among the golden crops nearby. My rain technique's level is just too low, and I hadn't used it enough, so the rainfall was uneven. Looks like I'll have a smaller yield this season. Don't even know if I can pay the taxes this time. I felt a bit worried, shook my head, and began harvesting. The sickle slid through the rice stalks, cutting left and right. I tied them into neat bundles with practiced hands. The sun set to the west when the harvesting was done and the rice was threshed. My body was drained of all spiritual energy after bagging everything, exhausted like a dog. Just as I wiped my sweat, I heard a magical artifact flying in the distance. A green leaf spirit boat streaked through the air. A green light slowly descended, and someone stepped out. He was a fat man, wearing the blue and white outer disciple robes of Lingian sect, with a big belly, and strutted over looking quite imposing. This chubby guy was Du Haifu, the overseer of these spirit fields. He was in charge of all the fields and farmers on this mountain. To us, he was the local tyrant. Hey, Xiao Qin, you work pretty fast. Already harvested all your spirit rice, huh? Du Haifu opened up the rice bags, pinched a few grains of rice, sniffed them under his nose, then casually tossed some in his mouth to taste, wearing a satisfied smile. The quality is not bad at all. Looks like you put in the effort. Du Haifu took out a big measuring vessel and started weighing. Harvested 280 jin of rice. The tax this time is 70%. That's 196 jin. Wait, why is there 50 jin less rice compared to last season? Du Haifu's smile vanished instantly. After checking the records, his face turned cold, and he looked straight at me. A chill ran through me, so I quickly pulled out a small pouch from my robe and handed it over. Then forced a smile and said, "Senior Du, I'm truly sorry. There was a bit of trouble in the field for the missing half bag of rice. Please accept these spirit stones as compensation. Hope you'll excuse me. It pained me, but I had no choice. That was most of my savings in there." In fact, the Lingyu sect only takes a 50% rice tax. But after so many deductions along the way, there's barely anything left for me in the end. That small bag of snacks was probably 80% pocketed by Du Haifu. Du Haifu took the pouch, weighed it in his hand, and his attitude softened quite a bit. But he still warned me that this was a one-time exception. It won't happen again. With that, he waved his hand, and several large bags of spirit rice were stashed into his storage pouch. I stared at the storage pouch on his waist, as well as that green-leafed magical tool from Africa, and couldn't help but feel envious. Do you know how much spirit rice Sai Leo Ju handed in this season? Du Haifu suddenly asked me with a meaningful look. Then he raised 2 fingers and waved them in front of me. "It's more than double what you turned in. You can't keep going like this, kid. But since you still seem to have some sense, I'll give you a little piece of advice. I've just received word that next time taxes are collected, the deacon elders of the sect will tally up this year's spirit rice tax payments. The bottom 10 Linglong cultivators in the rankings will be sent to the frontline barracks to reinforce the troops. You'd better take this seriously." After saying this, Du Haifu didn't even look at my reaction and left on his boat, leaving me standing there, stunned. "What do you mean, sent to the war camp?" Night fell. With the remaining spirit rice on my back, I headed back to my room, clanged the door shut, then flopped down heavily on my bed. Flat on my back, sprawled out like a dead dog. My mind was a mess. I knew very well, with my current spirit rice yield, I'd definitely end up at the very bottom of the rankings. The death rate at the Rainfall Sect's war camp is extremely high. Everyone is terrified of being sent there. So-called frontier clearing just means the sect needs a lot of low-level cultivators to serve as cannon fodder scouts. Being a Linglong cultivator is indeed tiring, but at least it's relatively safe. The jobs that everyone else complains about now are my lifesaver in this sea of hardship. What should I do? I really don't want to be cannon fodder at the war camp. I just can't accept it. Maybe it's because I was so tired today, pondering this over, that I quickly fell into a deep sleep. The end land? A dazzling, enchanting light flashed deep within my soul. I had a very long dream. In the dream, All sorts of strange plants grew wildly at an unbelievable speed, blocking out the sky and sun. Boom! Then, it was like something exploded in my mind. The next morning I got up, holding my throbbing head, feeling totally dizzy. I got out of bed and fetched a basin of water, went to the flower bed in the yard to wash up, where I had planted dozens of stalks of spirit rice. I'd been studying the growth habits of the crops there, and sometimes used them to practice the rainfall technique. But the moment I looked up at the flower bed, I froze completely. I saw that above 3 stalks of spirit rice in the bed, a line of prompts popped up for each of them. Name, spirit rice, attribute, accelerated ripening. Ripeness, 100%. Ready to harvest. Name, spirit rice, attribute, ultimate rainfall spell, 5 uses. Ripeness, 100%. Ready to harvest. Name, spirit rice, attribute, weak mana. Ripeness, 100%. Ready to harvest. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief, muttering that I must have just woken up too quickly. Maybe I slept in a weird position last night. I stared dead-on at those 3 attributes, the golden font shimmering faintly in and out of sight. Over and over again, I checked and double-checked to be sure, and my excitement skyrocketed. A cheat. This must be my very own cheat code. I thought my life as a cultivator was about to end here. But now hope was suddenly reignited. I did my best to calm my nerves, couldn't even be bothered to wash up, and carefully moved closer to those 3 stalks of spirit rice. I looked at every plant in the yard, but only those 3 showed an attribute prompt. Should I just harvest them directly? I reached out and pinched off the 3 spirit rice stalks at the root. When I collected them, I saw a green glow and 2 white glows flash for a moment inside the spirit rice, before turning into 3 leaves. They quietly appeared in my sea of consciousness. The green leaf had the accelerated ripening attribute. The white leaves had weak mana and ultimate rainfall spell, 5 uses, attributes respectively. I just have to will it, and I can use them immediately. I closed the door and went back into my room, sitting cross-legged on the bed, then focused on one of the white leaves. The weak mana attribute vanished instantly. In an instant, a surge of mana erupted in my danshin, and I quickly guided it along the route of my family's everlasting spring cultivation method to transform it. Even though it was supposedly weak mana, I never expected it to be so abundant. After a long time of feeling the changes in my danshin, a look of joy appeared on my face. The mana in my danshin had grown noticeably stronger, enough to equal 3 months of hard work for me. The bottleneck I'd been stuck at in the second layer of key training was finally showing faint signs of loosening. If more attributes like this came up, reaching the 73rd layer of key training wouldn't be far off. What surprised me even more was that these attribute tokens could be stored directly in my sea of consciousness. I can use them anytime. For tokens like weak mana, I should stockpile as many as I can whenever I get the chance. They might save my life at a crucial moment. I tasted success for the first time, and was so pumped, I couldn't wait to try out the other 2 attribute tokens. But I quickly calmed myself down. I can't get cocky. I have to keep my cool. I should stick to my usual routine, because my strength is still very low. Can't let anyone notice anything strange. It's best to play it safe and develop steadily. With that in mind, I got up to the kitchen to cook, using the freshly harvested spirit rice from yesterday. Normally, after paying my taxes, I'd sell off the rest of the spirit rice, saving every penny to trade for cultivation resources. I couldn't even afford a few decent meals a month. After eating, I grabbed my cooking tools and went to the spirit fields at my usual time, taking a walk around. I soon realized something. After checking every field and plant around, apart from the half-acre of unripe spirit rice, where a single stalk had a weak mana attribute token, none of the other plants showed any attribute prompts. Which means only the spirit plants I personally grow produce these tokens. And the tokens only show up sometimes, with a pretty low probability. Getting 3 plants with attribute tokens in the flower bed at once was insanely lucky. I totally hit the jackpot. But still, as long as I keep growing plants, I'll eventually get more. My spirit field is at the very back of the hillside, secluded and quiet, with a patch of bamboo shielding it. And unless Supervisor Du Haifu is collecting taxes, he rarely comes around for inspection. All the farmers already harvested their spirit rice yesterday, so there's nobody in the fields right now. I'm staring at the only stalk in the field with an attribute prompt. I stared intently for a long time, but still couldn't tell what made him different from the surrounding spirit paths. Seeing no one around, I decided to use the other two entries. What Du Haifu said yesterday gave me a strong sense of urgency. I absolutely can't go to the front lines just to die in vain. With my current combat ability, I'm basically the weakest cannon fodder out there. Let me try to ripen this half-moo of spirit path first. Let's see what happens. Taking a deep breath, I focused my thoughts. Used the ripening entry and an ultimate spirit rain art. The ripening green leaf in my spiritual seed disappeared, and the ultimate spirit rain art was reduced to 4 uses remaining. I formed a spell with my hand, then pointed above the half-moo forest path. A cluster of gray forest clouds quickly gathered above, rapidly covering the entire half-moo plot. It was a sparse rain. Combined with the ripening effect, the spirit rain kept falling. This ultimate spirit rain art truly is worlds apart from the basic version. The rainfall range and spiritual energy transformation are greatly enhanced. Most importantly, it can initially channel the energy of the spiritual veins. The difference is like night and day. I carefully sensed the feeling of casting the technique, calmed my mind, and focused on the mana flow of the ultimate spirit rain art. After a while, I had a sudden insight. Turns out what I lacked was fine control over my own mana, and efficient use of spiritual energy when casting. That Sai Leo Ju also practiced for years, before he raised the rain technique to intermediate level. This rain lasted a full incense stick before it stopped. Of course, my mana was completely depleted. Still not strong enough. My face went pale, and my legs felt weak. I plopped down on the ground, wiping sweat from my forehead. A whole incense stick's worth of time was something I'd never even dared imagine before, let alone maintaining the ultimate rain technique this long. Yet now I could sustain it for so long. No more was I stuck with a 3-second drizzle like before. In that moment, my confidence seemed to return. After resting for a bit, I checked the effect of the rain. In just half a day, the half-moo of forest path actually started growing wildly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Just like those crazy plants in my dreams. It kept shooting up until it was more than double its original height, before it finally slowed down. It's almost about to reach 0 years old. This speed is definitely from the ripening effect, combined with the ultimate rain, which truly took my breath away. And that's with spreading out all the ripening entries across the entire half-moo plot. If I used them all on a single spirit path stalk, I could probably harvest it immediately. Looks like the green quality entries are truly rare. Better save them next time. That spirit path's entry also changed. Name: Golden Spirit Rice. Entry: Weak Mana. Maturity 7.0. At this rate, I estimate I can harvest the spirit rice by tomorrow morning. Sure enough, the next morning when I returned to the field, that half-moo of spirit rice was fully mature. What's more, the yield was about 20% higher than before, and the quality was better. Each grain was full, crystal clear, and gave off an enticing spiritual fragrance. No wonder it's called the ultimate spirit rain art. It can draw spiritual energy directly from the veins, turning it into spiritual essence, and providing plenty of nutrition. What pleased me most was that spirit rice with the weak mana entry was converted into part of my cultivation. Feeling great about this, I started looking forward to the future. In the blink of an eye, half a month went by. During that time, I finished tending my original 3 moo of spirit fields, and went to Du Haifu to rent another 2 moo nearby. After tilling, I planted new spirit path seedlings, and used the ultimate spirit rain entry 3 more times. Now only 1 use remains. Through repeatedly casting the ultimate spirit rain art, I've gradually started to get the hang of it. With consistent practice, it won't be long before I can use it myself, even without the entry. This is the difference between personal experience and just blindly practicing. When Du Haifu saw me coming to rent more land,
He kept praising me for finally seeing the light.
he even gave me some fake encouragement. He obviously wanted to rent out more plots to make more profit. But little did he know, the reason I'm working the field so hard is actually 2 farm entries. After a busy half month, the 5 mu of spirit fields were nearly all set. Now it's just waiting for the next harvest. The rest is just routine care and upkeep. Finally, I had some free time. So over these 2 days, I plan to sell some of my spirit rice and buy some cultivation supplies. Right now, there are 2 things I must buy. First, a storage pouch. Carrying heavy bags everywhere has been a hassle. Second, a soundproof array. I changed my clothes, hoisted my spirit rice, and left. Fellow Doist Chin, off to the Fang place to sell spirit rice? Looks like you had a good harvest. That's pretty rare, fellow Doist Chin. Stepping outside, lots of neighbors greeted me. After winding through the maze of alleyways, I reached the main road. Just then, 2 cultivators came walking toward me, a man and a woman. Long Doist, fellow Doist Chin. I quickly put my sack down and respectfully greeted them with cupped hands. The long surnamed cultivator in front of me was the only late-stage key refining master in our shantytown area. He broke through to level 7 or 8 key refining years ago, and the female cultivator beside him was my neighbor Li Yanli. Seeing how close they were, he probably managed to get on her good side. Security in the shantytown is poor, so we've relied on Daoist Long's presence these past years to keep troublemakers away. The Rain Gate's large-scale cultivation has attracted a lot of DJ cultivators and also quite a few troublemakers. After Daoist Long responded, he took Li Yanli away. In their eyes, I'm just an insignificant DJ, not even worth a glance. I didn't mind either. Glancing in the direction they left, I figured there'd be another big fight tonight. I sighed inwardly and immediately changed my first purchase to the soundproof array. Soon after, the gigantic archway of Qingyang Market came into view. The market inside was packed with people, and the shouts of vendors were endless. Taking the main road, I headed straight to the very center of the market and arrived at the back door of a shop. After knocking a few times, someone came to open the door. When they saw it was me, they asked me to wait and went inside. Manager Han was gone briefly. Then a middle-aged man appeared, dressed in a white robe with golden embroidery and bright red silk. The manager is at the 6th level of key refining. Even when dealing with a low-level cultivator like me, he didn't show any disrespect. He greeted me with a professional smile and warm hospitality. You're here to sell spirit rice, right? Come on in, let's talk inside. I entered the back courtyard. I set down the spirit rice. I bowed and said, that's all I have. It's roughly about 100 pounds. The shopkeeper nodded. He instructed his staff to inspect and weigh the spirit rice. Today, there are a total of 108 pounds of spirit rice. I can purchase it at market price, 5 pounds for 1 low-grade spirit stone. That's the price for low-grade spirit stones. How about it, fellow Taoist? Deal? I nodded cheerfully in agreement. I've sold spirit rice here a few times before. This channel was actually secretly introduced to me by old Sai. Of course, I could also set up a stall inside the main hall. I might be able to sell some snacks there. But then I'd have to pay for the booth and other fees. It's rather troublesome. This way is safer and more reliable. If you have more spirit rice in the future, you're always welcome to sell it here. I'll take any amount you have. The shopkeeper took out 21 spirit stones and some fragments of spirit crystals, and paid me. By the way, do you sell soundproof array formations here? I didn't leave right away. I asked. Of course we do. The shopkeeper smiled faintly.
He patted his storage pouch
And produced a basic array formation. A low-grade soundproofing array. Price is 10 spirit stones. I squeezed the still warm spirit stones in my hand. Clenching my teeth, I asked, can you make it cheaper? I'll also buy a storage pouch. Alright, the soundproof array is 10 spirit stones. And the storage pouch is 12 spirit stones. I'll take one less spirit stone for you. Total is 21 spirit stones. Spirit stone transaction complete. I left the shop. I really do spend money wherever I earn it. Don't even think about saving a single coin. I couldn't help but sigh. I then went to some nearby shops to buy a few snacks, books, and daily necessities, and hurried home. I spent quite a lot this time, but I believe I'll make even more soon. Back in my room, I set up the soundproof array. From now on, no matter how noisy the neighbors get, it won't affect me. So comfortable. The world has finally quieted down. After that, I focused all my attention on the 5 acres of spirit fields. This directly determines my future fate. 10 days later in the spirit fields, the spirit rice had already started to grow. It looked lush and green. I immediately rushed to check the fields. What concerned me most was what attributes these 5 acres of spirit fields would reveal. I glanced over. 4 traits shimmered across the green rice fields. Name: Jinnaling rice. Trait: faint spiritual aura. Ripeness: full. Name: Jinnaling rice. Trait: faint spiritual aura. Ripeness: 15. Name: elven rice. Trait: beast repelling technique by 5. Ripeness: 12. Name: elven rice. Trait: parent seed, beast fang rice. At ripeness, new traits appeared. I couldn't help but feel happy. Besides the faint spiritual aura, there were 2 new traits. Unfortunately, there was no trait to accelerate ripening. It's a pity, but the beast repelling technique is a spirit plant spell. When paired with specific mid-tier implements, it can quickly repel demon beasts and protect spirit plants. However, it's even harder to master than the spirit feather technique. Very few people can actually use it. The number on the trait probably means it can be used 5 times. Then, my attention shifted to the last trait. Shoyamin. That seems familiar. I think I've seen it somewhere before. I frowned slightly, trying to recall what I read in a book. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration crossed my mind. I remembered. I patted my storage pouch. A booklet appeared in my hand. This was the spirit plant book Lin Yuman gave to Linglong. I flipped quickly to the last few pages. Beast Fang Rice, 1st grade, low-grade spiritual herb. Grains as white as snow, shaped like a beast fang. After eating, it can significantly enhance blood and strengthen bones. It balances the inner organs, and contains 5 times more spirit energy than elven rice. Elven rice is just ordinary spirit rice. It's not graded. But Beast Fang rice is considered low-grade, in the spiritual herb category. It's quite rare. It's especially sought after by body cultivation practitioners. Whenever it's available for sale in the main hall, it's usually sold out instantly. However, it's difficult to cultivate. You must use the ultimate spirit feather technique to channel spiritual veins, and nurture it over a long period. Its maturation cycle is quite long. The lowest grade Beast Fang rice takes 2 years to mature, and the yield is low. Its price is 10 times that of elven rice. Even the seeds are extremely expensive. The booklet also specifically mentions, 1 sentence, anyone who successfully cultivates and sells Beast Fang rice will have half of their taxes reduced. If you can grow a 1st grade, low-grade spirit plant, it means you qualify for promotion to a 1st grade spirit planter. That's a much higher status than ordinary low-level Linglong cultivators. Turns out it's a Beast Fang rice seed. What a windfall! I was absolutely thrilled. Now I need to watch over these 5 acres of spirit fields even more carefully. In just over 3 months, I'll have to pay the spirit rice tax again. That's the real test. It directly concerns my livelihood and life. During this period, I've been absolutely on edge. Nothing can go wrong in the spirit fields. So I meticulously weeded the fields and used the ultimate spirit rain technique one last time. Days passed one by one. Every day I worked from dawn to dusk, diligently and painstakingly tending the fields. Besides looking after the spirit fields, I also focused on cultivating everlasting spring art and Spirit Feather Technique. After experiencing the ultimate Spirit Feather Technique 5 times, my spell mastery greatly improved. With constant practice and exploration, I finally found the right feeling. A month later, I looked at the spirit feathers covering the 5 acres. A smile appeared on my face. The ultimate Spirit Feather Technique is finally mastered. Now, even without relying on special traits, I can cast the ultimate Spirit Feather Technique by myself. But my spiritual power at Key Refining Level 2 is really lacking. So, to increase the yield, I'm giving it my all. Every time I use the ultimate Spirit Feather Technique, I drain every last drop of my spiritual energy. Every time I return home from the fields, I look exhausted, completely drained, barely able to lean against the wall as I walk. Well now, fellow Dao's Chin, I really didn't expect this from you. Honestly, have you recently been secretly tending to that stern Miss Lee next door? Young man, you should learn restraint. Even if you had an iron waist or a brand new kidney, you still can't keep this up every day. As a result, the neighbors all started thinking I was overindulging in wild pleasures. It's just that my cultivation level is too low. Every time I perform the ultimate Spirit Feather Technique, my spiritual energy is nearly depleted. Faced with these speculations, I could only give a sheepish smile and didn't bother to explain much. Staying focused on farming is the right way. Watching the spirit rice thrive day by day, I couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. My hard work finally paid off. Over 2 months later, the spirit rice was ripe. Name: Golden Spirit Rice. Trait: Faint Spiritual Aura. Ripeness: 100. Ready for harvest. Name: Elven Rice. Trait: Faint Spiritual Aura. Ripeness: 100. Ready for harvest. Name: Elven Rice. Trait: Beast Repelling Technique by 5. Ripeness: 100. Ready for harvest. Name: Elven Rice. Trait: Parent Seed, Beast Fang Rice. Ripeness: 100. Ready for harvest. I harvested these 4 stalks of spirit rice. 4 white leaves instantly appeared in my spiritual sea. A while later, all the cultivators gathered, and under Overseer Du Haifu's supervision, we began harvesting the spirit rice. When it was my field's turn, Du Haifu looked at the scene before him and couldn't help but show a hint of surprise. With one glance, he immediately noticed. A look of astonishment appeared. With a single glance, he saw that the golden spirit rice in the field was plump on every stalk, each grain big and full. They were even drooping from the weight, bending the stalks down. You mastered the ultimate spirit technique? Du Haifu turned to size me up, almost speechless. After a while, he actually showed a rare hint of approval. I was lucky to succeed in training it a few days ago. Overall, not bad. Go ahead and harvest the spirit rice. I started working quickly, harvesting the spirit rice. Busy all day long, I harvested a full 8 large bags of spirit rice. Du Haifu began checking and weighing the harvest. Harvested 8 dan and 20 jin of spirit rice. 70% tax must be paid. Total, 574 jin. As soon as his words fell, a huge magic vessel streaked across the sky in a beam of light, coming to a steady hover above the hillside. At the bow of the ship, an elder in blue robes stood with hands behind his back. His face was stiff and stern. Behind him stood 7 or 8 outer disciples of Lingyu's sect in neat formation. Du Haifu saw this person and quickly bowed. Greetings, Steward Jiyu. According to your orders, all the neighbors' taxes for this season have been collected. Please have a look. With that, he carefully presented a jade slip. I also hurried to bow my head and salute. At this moment, Du Haifu looked entirely subservient and deferential. None of his usual tough attitude left. Though the other party is just an outer steward,
He still is direct superior.
and Du did not dare to cross the line at all. Steward Jiyu finished checking the jade slip and instructed the disciple beside him. He gathered all the linglongs together, over 300 people in total. Sai Lao Ju squeezed to my side from the crowd, gave me a look and said, "Brother Chin, so how was your harvest today?" I just laughed it off. and replied casually, "Not bad." "But you, La Ju, you really kept it hush-hush. You had a great yield last season but didn't tell me. Getting rich quietly, huh?" Hey, didn't it all just go as tribute anyway?" Sai Leo Ju's eyes darted around, clearly feeling guilty at this point. Steward Jiyu on the magic vessel looked around the crowd and announced flatly, "As of today, all the spirit rice tax has been completely collected. Now, according to sect orders, I hereby announce a directive. For the entire year, the 10 Linglong cultivators ranked lowest in spirit rice output will be forcibly dispatched to the frontline war camp to fill the ranks. No one is to disobey." Steward Jiyu's commanding voice rang out, like thunder crashing in everyone's hearts. Frontline war camp? No way, right? I shouldn't be ranked in the bottom, should I? Why wasn't this announced in advance? Everyone instantly became anxious and uneasy, panic setting in. Steward Jiyu gave a cold snort, and pressure of a cultivator at peak key refinement spread out. The crowd immediately fell silent. The spirit rice yields for the past 3 seasons, and all rankings are here. You may check for yourself.
After saying this, Steward Jiyu
Had a disciple step forward, who performed a spell on the jade slip in front. Instantly, above everyone's heads, a massive light screen appeared in the air, covered densely with clearly visible writing. On it, the rankings were listed from highest to lowest, with each season's yield attached behind. I glanced up and quickly found my own name. My name, ranked 156. Whew, I let out a long breath. Middle of the pack. Finally, I could relax. How is this possible? 8 Dan and 20 Jin? Next to me, Sai Leo Ju cried out in surprise. An unexpected scene occurred. On the light screen, rank 157. Sai Ju Wu Sai La Ju ranked right after me. And to think his spirit rice output in the first 2 seasons was way higher than mine. But my 3rd season's yield far exceeded his. If you just look at the 3rd season, I was already in the top 50. Those at the very top were all veteran Linglongs in mid-key refinement. I'm sure you've all seen your results clearly. The bottom 10. Get on the ship and come with me. 10 Yokai, Zhaoshan, Lin Chengdong. The 10 Linglongs called out instantly turned pale. Utterly hopeless. What awaits them is the brutal frontline wilderness. But facing Steward Jiyu's orders, no one dared refuse. These people were taken onto the magic vessel by Lingyu sect disciples. I hope all of you will keep striving, work hard at farming in the coming year, and contribute to the sect. Next year, the sect will set new quotas. The next time frontline dispatches are made, it'll be the bottom 30 Linglong cultivators. Steward Jiyu's authority was absolute. His words echoed in everyone's ears for a long time. When I heard this, I thought to myself, this time, Linglong sect didn't announce it in advance. So most Linglong cultivators had no idea. This forced dispatch was coming. If Du Haifu hadn't given me a heads up at the start, I'd have been completely left in the dark too. After this incident, it's certain that next year there will be fierce competition among the Linglongs. No one wants to be cannon fodder at the front lines. Looking at the 4 thorny leaves in the stone sea, I couldn't help but feel sentimental. In the past, mastering the ultimate spirit domain technique in such a short time was something no one dared even dream of. But now it only took me less than half a year. After paying this tax, I still have more than 250 jin of fine spirit rice left. There's no way I can finish it alone. Selling spirit rice can even earn me some extra pocket money. With some spare cash, surviving in this environment becomes much easier. But at this pace, my cultivation will soon fall behind. If I keep burning my power at this rate, such intense use of mana for so long, over time, will definitely damage my meridians. It would become irreversible. Besides, now that I have beast tooth rice, it's time to start growing spirit crops. And to keep the mid-grade spirit maiden technique running for long, the lowest requirement is to reach key refinement level 3. I wonder if those 2 minor mana boost attributes can help me break through to the 3rd level of key refinement. No, I need to work harder on the farm. I must get that ripening enhancement property. The issue with neighbor taxes is finally settled. For now, I don't have to worry about being sent to the front lines. This time I must strive to break through to the key refinement stage. Level 3. In the quiet little hut, I'm sitting on a straw mat on my bed, my eyes lightly closed, centering my breath and spirit, holding a lower grade spirit stone in hand. Its spiritual glow quickly grew dim. In a short while, the energy within the spirit stone was almost absorbed. I opened my eyes, my face a bit unsightly. With a gentle squeeze, the spirit stone in my hand turned into a pile of dust. Ooh, cultivating with spirit stones is a complete waste for me. It feels like squandering resources. The natural spiritual energy and that within spirit stones are chaotic and mixed. First-rank cultivators can't directly control it. To turn it into personal mana, it has to be absorbed through spiritual roots and continuously refined through cultivation. And the quality of one's spiritual roots directly affects the efficiency of absorption and conversion. I shook my head. Spirit stone strips are still the best. The faint spiritual energy inside the strips doesn't need to be absorbed and refined through spiritual roots. It can be used directly. This time I plan to use 2 strips of faint spiritual energy. Yezi is trying to break through 2 faint energy entries. Yezi is trying to break through with 2 strips of faint spiritual energy. Just those strips are equal to half a year of hard cultivation for me. I calm my mind and body, clearing all distracting thoughts. The first strip of faint spiritual energy is used up. Even though I'm used to it, when the endless flow of spiritual energy pours in like a tidal wave, it's still a bit overwhelming. With the guidance of everlasting spring palace, the surging spiritual energy begins to circulate inside my body, flowing continuously throughout my channels, endlessly gathering at my danshan. The everlasting spring palace was passed down from my family of cultivators. It's not a profound cultivation method. It's pretty much what everyone uses. The main point is all about health and wellness. Long and smooth spiritual veins. Mediocre power. Cultivating it is as slow as a turtle, but it does have some pros. When trained to an advanced level, it can grant longevity. As a primary cultivation method, it gives practitioners a little more lifespan and energy compared to peers. If you switch to another method halfway through, the effect is lost. That actually suits my personality. Just farming and planting grass, nourishing the spirit and energy, returning to nature. Isn't that a good life? Why insist on fighting and killing, competing and struggling against each other, only to end up with nothing? Sigh, but that being said, over all these years, I've actually come to realize something else. There's only so many resources in the entire cultivation world. Cultivation methods, tools, spiritual materials, pills, and so on are all controlled by the big sects. It's hard for lone cultivators to even get scraps. They can only struggle to survive in the cracks, unless one is exceptionally gifted. Otherwise, if you don't climb up, you'll never make any progress on the immortal path. Even a sect like Lingyu sect resorts to mobilizing the entire sect, traveling thousands of miles to open up land, all for cultivation resources. I used up 1 strip of faint spiritual energy, but the bottleneck that was slightly loosening, the slightly loose bottleneck still didn't react. My brows furrowed deeply. My expression was serious. With determination, I used up the last strip of faint spiritual energy. After a long while, 2 strips of faint spiritual energy were completely depleted. But I still didn't break through. This is the gap in natural talent. Late stage key refining level 2. Still not quite at level 3 key refining. There's still some way to go. If it were someone else, with the spiritual energy provided by the earlier strips, they probably would have broken through already. But I'm not discouraged. In the past, if I had followed step by step in my cultivation, there's no telling when anything would have changed. Now, the situation is much better. Although my cultivation didn't break through this time, my Qi and Danshan have expanded quite a bit. My internal spiritual energy increased by a third compared to before. And now I'm just one step away. I just need some more time. I can't keep going like this. I need to adjust my approach. Once I've finished cultivating beast tooth rice, maybe I can try body refinement techniques first. At least it'll give me more ability to protect myself. But with my current Lingi skills, growing shoyu rice probably requires the help of ripening entries. Otherwise, it's hard to say whether it'll even work.
If I fail,
I'd just be wasting the shoyu rice mother seeds for nothing. That would be a real loss. After much thought, I've made up my mind. Time to wrap up and cook. After breakfast, I head out and return to the Fang Clan Exchange Pavilion in Qingying. It's still that shop located at the center of the clan. Besides the restaurant on the first and second floors, they're running all kinds of businesses upstairs too. If you can do business in a location like this, your connections must be pretty solid. The shopkeeper's surname is Liao. When he saw me, he gave a perfect professional smile. I just straightforwardly patted my storage pouch. A tap on my storage bag, and 2 big sacks of spirit rice appeared on the ground in front of me. Shopkeeper Liao was surprised I could bring out so much spirit rice at once. It was a whole sack more than last time. According to what he knew, the Lin Yu sect charges a 70% tax on spirit farmers. By that calculation, it basically means I harvested at least over 8 sacks of spirit rice this season. This proves my spiritual planting skills. Only veteran spirit farmers can yield so much. Otherwise, you need real talent at Lingi. If it's the latter, maybe there's a chance to advance to a first-tier Lingi master in the future. The clerk checked and weighed the goods. Shopkeeper Liao smiled warmly. He raised his opinion of me, even as a low-tier spirit farmer. A total of 220 jin of refined spirit rice. Fellow cultivator Chin, as usual. Here are 44 spirit stones. Would you like to see if there's anything you need from our shop? We've got everything you need. As long as you want it, we can provide it. I was already prepared. I took out a blueprint from my robe. It was a drawing of a small bell. I handed it to shopkeeper Lao and said, I'd like to custom order a bell like this. Is that possible? Of course. Fellow cultivator Chin, this must be a special spirit bell for the beast command technique, right? We have special training manuals for the key refining stage. Luckily, we have a low-grade one in stock. Beast spirit bell. Altogether, it's 10 spirit stones. Shopkeeper Liao produced a palm-sized spirit bell, smiling as he handed it over, and explained, when used together with the beast command technique, it will automatically shrink or expand. It's actually this cheap? The price was a bit surprising. I was ready to spend much more. Hey, fellow cultivator Chin, you may not know. The key to the beast command technique is mastering the spell itself. This bell is just an auxiliary tool. Let me remind you, fellow cultivator Chin, the beast command technique is extremely hard to learn. A number of cultivators from the Lingyu sect's battle camp used to custom order these, but only a few ever fully mastered it. I got what he meant. Basically, what he's saying is, to put it bluntly, no one is buying. What if I can't master the technique? Then the spirit token is just decoration. A big loss, but for me, there's no such thing as not being able to learn it. I paid 10 spirit stones. But then the token suddenly asked me another question. Do you have any pills to improve your key refining stage? I'm still not completely over not breaking through to key refining stage 3. I still can't let it go. If you do, please head up to the 3rd floor. A moment later, I walked out of the shop looking as usual, carrying 40 spirit stones on me, but nowhere to spend them, because the cheapest cultivation pills on the 3rd floor start at 60 spirit stones each. Shopkeeper Liao enthusiastically saw me out. On the way back, I stopped by Supervisor Du Haifu's place, planning to rent another acre of spirit land. With my current cultivation level, my energy is limited. 5 or 6 acres is already the limit. Zhao Qin is here. You're a bit late. Just a short while ago, all the spirit farmland on the mountain was already rented out. Not a single plot left. Du Haifu took a sip of tea. casually gave me this news. I thought to myself, this isn't good. Just as I suspected. Next year, everyone will probably be fighting hard for higher spirit rice yields. Lingyu Sek's reclamation area is in the Yun's wildlands. Located in the southwestern heart of the southern wilds cultivation world, it's virtually uninhabited. The winters here are especially cold. If I hadn't come to the cultivation world, I never would have known that cultivators can get cold too. And they need to eat, drink, and all that stuff too. After winter begins, spirit farmland enters a short 2-month rest period. The next round of spirit rice will be sown before Qingming. Otherwise, if hit by frosty winds, the rate of empty husks will be higher. Winter is cold, but that chill actually puts my mind at ease. The changing seasons remind me, spring warmth is getting closer. I'm clearing the snow at my door. Creak! My neighbor Li Yanli's wooden door opens with a sound. She's wearing pink peach blossom colored clothes, charming and graceful, carrying out a wooden basin to dump her wash water. Good morning, Taoist Li. Seeing her come out, I smile a little, nodded as a greeting, smiled a bit, and greeted her. Good morning, Taoist Chen. You're really hardworking. Li Yanli smiled coyly. I heard your spirit rice yield last season was really amazing, Taoist Chen. You must have sold a lot of snacks, right? Hey, just got lucky, that's all. After that greeting, I was about to go back inside, but heard my female neighbor call out to me. Taoist Chen, please wait. A shy look crossed Li Yanli's face. She said a bit embarrassed. Sorry, I was too noisy here the other day, and disturbed your rest. If you don't mind, Taoist Chen, would you like to come into my place? I can let you have a session for free. That stunned me. My face turned red immediately. Honestly, what young man could resist that kind of temptation? That's a real test of willpower. This spring warmth is coming a bit too soon, isn't it? Or is the economy just that bad? People are starting their morning exercise super early. Stay calm, gotta keep calm. I bet she's after what's in my pockets, not anything else. My resolve is wavering again. Suddenly, a powerful figure appeared in my mind. A cultivator at late key refining stage 7 or 8, Taoist Long. Can't afford to mess with that. Better not. Instantly lost the mood and calmed down quickly. Thanks for the offer, Taoist. I've been turning over the lamb lately, and my back has been aching these days. Without another word, I hurried back inside. Sigh, women are nothing but trouble, messing with a man's heart. Hurriedly washed my face, lost in thought, when I heard knocking at the door. Don't tell me she's coming to me directly. That's real trouble. Well, if that's the case, I guess I'll just have to face it. Opened the door and saw Sai Lao Ju outside. Looked around both ways. Made sure nobody else was there. Casually said, "Oh, it's you." Sai Lao Ju was holding 2 bags. He was all smiles, but froze when he heard that. He looked all around and instantly got annoyed. Why can't it be me? I don't get it, man. What's wrong with that? I came here out of kindness, to bring you some sweet potato moonshine I brewed myself. Fine, I'll just head out then. Sai Lao Ju turned to leave. I hurriedly apologized. Hey, wait. I didn't mean it like that. Come in, have a seat. That's when Sai Lao Ju handed me the jug of liquor and said moodily, No need, I won't sit. We've got a new neighbor nearby. Didn't you know? I took the wine, feeling confused. Sai Lao Ju looked at me and could tell. I must have been cooped up inside too long. Out of the loop. He sighed, pointed at me and said, I really don't know what to say about you. A new cultivator moved into the alley a few days ago. And a genuine alchemist, too. In the world of cultivation, alchemists dominate. Pill energy stands tall. They hold the top spot. Pills are indispensable to cultivators. Whether for daily cultivation, or breaking through bottlenecks, or healing injuries, everyone will need an alchemist eventually. Get on their good side. You never know when you'll need their help. But why would an alchemist move into a rundown area like ours? I'm a little confused. Learning alchemy really burns through spirit stones. It takes a ton of resources to train one. Usually only big, powerful sects can afford that. So it's probably just an entry-level alchemist. Heard they're only staying for a year. The details weren't revealed. You'd better prepare a gift. And let's go pay a visit together. Cai Laoju hurried me impatiently. So you brought me wine just as an excuse. Trying to get in good with the alchemist, huh? I was speechless. Soon, the two of us walked through a couple alleys and stopped in front of a house. Cai Laoju knocked on the door. A moment later, the wooden door opened from inside. A white-robed cultivator in his 20s appeared before us. Key refining stage 7 or 5. Neither of us expected him to be so young. We heard a fellow Daoist alchemist moved in, so we came to pay our respects. Just to get acquainted. Since we'll be neighbors from now on. Cai Laoju gave a hearty greeting with a laugh. Introduced himself. Then the two of us presented our gifts. I brought 5 pounds of spirit rice. Cai Laoju, besides spirit rice, also gave a jug of his homemade liquor. A small token, just to show respect. The white-robed young man accepted our gifts, stepped aside, and invited us in. You two don't need to be so polite. I'm Su Yu King. This is just a small token. The young man in white took out 2 ordinary jade bottles. He handed them to the two of us. I politely accepted the jade bottle. I glanced at it briefly. Inside the bottle was a key recovery pill for cultivators in the key refining stage. It helps cultivators quickly restore their magical power. A low-grade key recovery pill costs 5 spirit stones each. He truly lives up to being an alchemist. He's quite generous. Looking at me and old Sai, the two of us exchanged glances. It admittedly felt a bit awkward. Compared to his return gift, our own meager spiritual power was somewhat embarrassing to offer. It was like we came just to mooch some pills. Luckily, Alchemist Su didn't mind. Indeed, I am an alchemist. I just recently advanced to a mid-tier first-grade alchemist. I came out to relax a bit. Alchemist Su spoke with a hint of pride. Alchemists hold esteemed status. Even an apprentice without a formal grade can make a decent temporary income, let alone a mid-tier first-grade alchemist. Wherever they go, they're honored guests of local powers. Plus, Alchemist Su is so young. He must be exceptionally talented. There's a good chance he'll keep advancing. People like him are often targets for recruitment by major powers. Not like small figures such as Old Sai and me, who could hope to build connections with such people. So Alchemist Su is actually a mid-tier, first-grade alchemist. Much respect, much respect. Forgive us for being abrupt earlier. Old Sai and I quickly bowed in respect. Alchemist Su sat steadily in his chair and sipped his tea, looking completely composed, with an air of taking things for granted. He waved his hand toward the two of us. Just then, someone walked in from outside. The three of us turned to look. It was fellow Daoist Long as well. Alchemist Su got up to welcome him. Fellow Daoist Long greeted with a respectful cupped fist salute. After the greetings, fellow Daoist Long, right in front of us, took out 2 jade boxes, handed them to Alchemist Su as meeting gifts. A mid-level Stage 1 beast core, and also Juanling grass. A faint smile appeared on Alchemist Su's face. He tapped his storage pouch. With a turn of his hand, he took out a delicate jade bottle. He handed it to fellow Daoist Long as a return gift. 2 spirit-gathering pills. They can increase cultivation during the key refining stage. They're also effective for late-stage cultivators. Next, fellow Daoist Long and Alchemist Su started chatting warmly. They completely ignored the two of us. After half an hour, Old Sai and I said our goodbyes and left. Both our expressions were a bit sour. That was really presumptuous. Why didn't you tell me before you came? Alchemist Su is so young, and he's already a mid-tier alchemist. How would I have known? Next time there's a deal like this, don't invite me. The seasons changed. Spring flowers bloomed. The 5 acres of woodland were already tilled. I replanted the spiritual rice. This time, I used the mother seed of beast tooth rice that I got last time, spent the entry for the seed included in that entry, and it just happened to be enough for 1 acre of farmland. This year, a tense atmosphere hung over the spiritual farmers. Everyone worked desperately, afraid to fall behind. Du Haifu patrolled around the mountaintop, nodded and looked quite satisfied. Time flew by, and 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. The spiritual rice in the field started to grow taller. But I sat on the field ridge, staring blankly at the land, looking worried and gloomy. The good news is, with the constant boost from the extreme domain, the spiritual rice in 4 acres is growing well, and 3 new badge entries appeared. One of them is the much-coveted maturation badge. Badge name, Spirit Rice. Badge name, Jinling Rice Maturation Entry. Entry Maturation Level, 26. Name, Jinling Rice Entry, Weak Magic Power Maturation, 35. Name, Jinling Rice Entry, Weak Magic Power Maturation, 28. The bad news is, the acre of beast tooth rice I planted has shown no signs of life so far. Not even a sprout. Where did things go wrong? I followed the instructions in the Spirit Mushroom book exactly. I used plenty of Ultimate Spirit Rice, Absolute. This round might really be a total loss. Another 2 months passed. The first season's spiritual rice harvest was completed. That acre of beast tooth rice field was still bare. Nothing at all. This season, I harvested 7 dan and 30 jin of spirit rice. There was another green maturation badge among the sea of corpses, and 2 white weak magic power badges. When Du Haifu learned that what I planted in that field was actually beast tooth rice, he didn't blame me, but instead patted my shoulder and patiently advised me, Zhao Chen, wouldn't it be better to just grow your spirit rice diligently? Why waste your spirit stones for nothing? Not just you, even a stage 1 spiritual plant master in the sect rarely succeeds in cultivating beast tooth rice. The risk is too high. Don't reach too far. Beast tooth rice usually sprouts after 3 months of planting. Yours has taken 4 months, and there's still no response. This season's spiritual rice yield, you're ranked outside the top 200. But I'm not too worried about the ranking now, since I have the badge entries, and feel pretty confident. Still, I'm not quite satisfied with the beast tooth rice. I'm worried that if I use the maturation badge, and it still doesn't sprout, what then? That would be a total double loss. One day during these peaceful days, I still went to that acre of beast tooth rice field and used the only maturation entry I had. After a long anxious wait, a hint of green broke through the soil, finally letting my heart relax with excitement. I let out a long breath. Very quickly, the beast tooth rice seedlings shot up, and didn't stop until they reached about 2 inches tall. It only stopped growing when it reached about 2 inches. After that, the ripening effect gradually faded away. Beast Fang rice stopped its terrifying growth rate. It seems the higher the spiritual tier, the more ripening tags are required. This time, we'll just have to wait patiently. The maturity period for Beast Fang rice is at least 3 years. I'll start slowly cultivating spirit rice for now. If I'm lucky enough next time, and I get a ripening tag, I can harvest a batch of longevity sprout rice early. It's been so long without sprouting. I thought the seeds had all gone bad. But I am a bit expectant. With this first-tier spiritual plant, the longevity sprout rice, I wonder what kind of new tags I'll get. I looked out towards the spiritual field. 3 strips of tags shone brilliantly. Name, Longevity Sprout Rice.
Tag, Advanced Spiritual Rain Mastery X Maturity 7.
Name, Longevity Sprout Rice Tag, Quality Boost X1 Maturity. Name, Longevity Sprout Rice Tag, Ripening X5 Maturity. This is amazing. I was so excited I jumped off the field bank. These 3 tags in front of me are just incredible. Advanced Spiritual Rain Technique, exclusively for cultivating top-tier spiritual plants. The rainfall effect is far beyond the intermediate technique. Most importantly, any spiritual plant watered by the advanced spiritual rain, as long as it's below first-tier high grade, its yield will double. No one inside Linglong has mastered this yet. Only a few plant masters from Lingyu's sect can perform it.
10 days later.
Du Haifu stared in shock at my spiritual field. After he checked repeatedly, looking at the spiritual field, where the unique red-veined spiritual sprouts grew among the green leaves, he finally confirmed those were surely beast fang rice leaves. You actually managed to cultivate it successfully. Du Haifu looked me over with a complex expression. He didn't know what to say for a moment. A few days later, I headed out again. The cultivation of beast fang rice succeeded. From now on, it's just a matter of time. Next, I'll find a body refining technique. The world of cultivation is ever-changing. The world is unpredictable. My spiritual root is too poor, so my cultivation progresses slowly. I have to get some methods to protect myself. Clear goals for my methods. It's wise to stay vigilant even when things are safe. Qingyang Method. The Juxuan Pavilion in the center of the method area. Fellow Daoist Chen, you're here. Manager Liao greeted me enthusiastically with a smile. Fellow Daoist Chen, please join me in a private room on the 4th floor. Let's chat over tea. Someone, bring a pot of premium spiritual tea. After more than a year of business together, the amount of spiritual rice I've been selling each time keeps increasing. The other party is clearly already a seasoned producer with stable output. Manager Liao has a good eye for judging people. Besides, he learned something 2 days ago that even made this usually calm expert surprised. I went upstairs with Manager Liao, looking around the large, spacious private room. Ancient and elegant style. Sophisticated and tasteful decor. It took me by surprise. But as usual, I took out 2 big bags of spirit rice from my storage bag and placed them in front of me. Same rule, 2 bags. Manager, could you please weigh them? Manager Liao gave a small smile. Soon he finished weighing and checking them. 2 bags of spirit rice plus 10 caddies. Here you go, fellow Doa Chin 70 spirit snacks. Please verify the amount. I frowned. Why is there so much extra snack currency? Puzzled, I said, Manager, what does this mean? Manager Liao quickly explained. Recently, Fang's shop is about to raise the price of spirit rice. It's likely happening in the next couple of days. As a regular customer, I decided on my own accord to pay fellow Daoist Chen at the new price. The price of spirit stones went up. But manager, the price of golden spirit rice is usually really stable, isn't it? Why did the price suddenly spike? Did something happen? I was a little surprised. Without showing it, I tried to inquire further. Manager Liao handed over the snacks, glanced out the window, then took out a soundproofing talisman and set up a sound barrier in the room. Only then did he speak very cautiously. Ling Yusek's campaign to open up new frontiers, deep in the Yun's barrens. They've discovered a secluded paradise-like site. Inside, there's actually a complete 3rd-tier spiritual vein. A 3rd-tier spiritual vein. As a low-level cultivator, I only ever read about such things in books. My heart was instantly in turmoil. But that place is occupied by a savage tribe numbering in the thousands. They're entrenched there. They're fierce and won't just die off. They're brave fighters. The cultivation techniques they practice are very different from those of ordinary sects. Ling Yu's sect's war camp suffered a big loss on the front line, with heavy casualties. They were going to ask their sect for reinforcements, but somehow the news got leaked, and Golden Cloud Valley intercepted it. A 3rd-tier spiritual vein is a big deal. Of course, Golden Cloud Valley would be envious. They immediately sent a huge number of disciples to launch a sneak attack and destroy Ling Yu sect's teleportation array outpost leading to Qingyang Market. They also completely severed Ling Yu sect's supply line to Qingyang Market. Manager Liao noticed my shocked reaction, as if he expected it. He continued, with such a long supply line, Ling Yu sect is in big trouble this time. The grudge between Ling Yu sect and Golden Cloud Valley will last at least 3 to 5 years, possibly decades, and won't be resolved soon. Therefore, not only are daily goods like spirit rice and meat going up, other cultivation resources will also rise in price. Listening to Manager Liao, I was stunned for quite a while. I had this ominous sense of coming disaster. No wonder Lingyu sect has even Linglong cultivators fighting on the front line lately. They say those barbarians are very skilled at manipulating spirit beasts. A group of stray spirit beasts on the front line broke through Lingyu sect's defenses, and their whereabouts are now unknown. Fellow Taoist Qin, you should be especially careful when you're out these days. Don't go far from home. After saying this, Manager Lao invited me to sit down. Come, taste this spiritual tea from the Yun's barons. It's quite beneficial for those in the key refining period as well. I politely accepted the tea, taking a sip. A lingering fragrance filled my mouth. The spiritual energy was delightful. I realized Manager Lao had set all this up as a goodwill gesture toward me. He was probably about to discuss business. I'm guessing Manager Lao is backed by unusual connections, since he can get news even before the upper echelons for affairs at a sect level. It's probably not a bad idea to stay on good terms with him. Thank you, Manager Liao, for the heads up. But is there anything else? I asked. Manager Liao showed a slight smile and suddenly said to me with deep meaning, Hey, fellow Taoist Chen, you really keep a low profile. I have a rather bold request. When the longevity sprout rice ripens in 2 years, would you consider selling part of it to our shop? Our pavilion can pay 10% above market price. I was taken aback. It's been less than a few days, and he already knows about this. Manager Liao really does have remarkable connections. Nothing in the fields can be kept from you these days. I didn't agree right away. I did plant longevity sprout rice, but I can't guarantee it will definitely mature in 2 years. Accepting his gesture, it was just that Manager Liao had already paid at the new higher price, gave me snacks as payment, and revealed a lot of information.
Actually,
he just wanted to use a little extra, maybe 20 or 30 more in snacks, to buy out my Shaoya rice supply directly. Truly a business veteran. Of course, if fellow Taoist Chen has other conditions, that can definitely be discussed as well. Shopkeeper Liao was watching my reaction and immediately poured me some tea. Fellow Taoist Chen, despite your youth in the field of Lingyi, such accomplishments must mean you're extraordinarily talented. With Shaoya rice, you're bound to harvest it with certainty. I wonder if your shop offers any body tempering techniques for sale. I pondered for a moment, then suddenly changed the subject. Shopkeeper Liao understood instantly, of course, and immediately brought out several body tempering techniques, which he introduced to me one by one. 9 revolutions regeneration technique, top-tier body tempering technique, can be cultivated all the way to the foundation establishment stage. Purely young and unyielding. Goes for 3,000 spirit stones. I curled my lips and couldn't help but think to myself, the technique is good, but the price is pretty outrageous too. Nether King Body Tempering Technique. This technique clears 270 vital points throughout the body and forges true steel essence. Advanced Body Tempering Technique. Priced at 1,000 spirit stones. Vajra Severing Technique. Mid-level Body Tempering Technique. Takes 30 years of cultivation to achieve small success. Price, 500 spirit stones. As shopkeeper Liao explained, he talked until his mouth was dry and took a sip of tea, continuing, Heaven Fiend Demon Essence Changing Technique. 80 spirit stones. Wait a minute. Shopkeeper, could you please focus on introducing this technique? Heaven Fiend Demon Essence Changing Technique. This technique sounds good. Sounds really positive and energetic. Alright, this one. After thinking for a while, I made up my mind decisively. This is a demonic cultivation technique. Once you practice it, you'd be hunted down by everyone. Sighed shopkeeper Liao. Then why are you selling it to me? Sorry, took the wrong one. An hour later, I left Zhegshuanj. The techniques shopkeeper had were either way out of my budget, or would take decades to see any results. It's so hard to find a suitable technique. No way around it. However, shopkeeper Liao still pointed me to a possible solution. Fellow Taoist Qin, there's a ruined family in the East District of Qingyang Trade Market. Their family declined, but they have an inherited body tempering technique. I once offered 100 for it, but fellow Taoist Ruin refused to sell no matter what. Said he absolutely needed some more essence-boosting pills or medicinal herbs before he'd agree. Honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe you can try your luck there. But don't get your hopes up, shopkeeper Liao implied. That's since I have shoyu rice nearly ready for harvest. If I use that as leverage, I might be able to persuade them. In exchange for the tip, I also promise to sell part of the harvest to Juxuan once the rice is mature. A win-win deal. Both sides were happy. Just as I stepped out the shop, I bumped into a large patrol from the Lingyu sect. They were rushing outside the Fang residence, looking like they were on high alert, fierce and intimidating. Such imposing presence. Greetings, fellow Daoist. May I ask what's going on? I casually asked a bystander watching the commotion. Heard they're going to kill some demon beasts. But don't worry. Within the Fang residence, demon beasts. But don't worry. Our Fang residence is very safe. Even Foundation establishment level beasts still can't break through our Tier 2 defensive formation. Fellow Daoist, just don't wander around and you'll be fine. I took all this in, then followed shopkeeper Liao's suggestion, and headed to the ruined family in the east district of the Fang residence. But when I arrived, I found their gate tightly shut. A nearby cultivator told me fellow Daoist ruin had left for business, and wouldn't be back for 3 or 4 months. Helpless, I could only plan to return later, heading back to the slums. It was evening inside the house. I was making dinner, feeling a bit absent-minded. Qingyang Fang is pretty safe inside, but the defensive formations don't cover the slums. Knock, knock, knock. Just then, a knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. I cautiously opened the door, to find it was actually fellow Daoist Long. A rare visitor indeed. Fellow Daoist Chin, I heard your grain output and quality are pretty good. I'd like to purchase some from you. Fellow Daoist Long got straight to the point. I took a moment to consider, and forced a slight smile. Yeah, the spiritual rice yield has been decent lately, but most of it has already been sold.
Hearing this, fellow Daoist Long
Frowned slightly, but still spoke with a gentle tone. How much spiritual rice do you still have? I'll buy as much as you have, all at the current market price. Fellow Daoist Long, I've heard, these past couple of days, the price of spiritual rice in Fang City might rise by about 50%. I hesitated slightly. Even though I didn't want to offend a late-stage key cultivator, I also didn't want to be taken advantage of. Fellow Daoist Long was clearly momentarily surprised, and began sizing me up. Very few people know about the price increase. Even within Fang City, only a select few are in the loop. Fellow Daoist Chin, you sure are well informed. Since that's the case, how about I buy at the increased price? What do you think? Fellow Daoist Long agreed readily. I nodded in agreement. Currently, I still have about 50 jin left to sell. That's all I have for now. I'll have to wait until next season for more. After finishing the trade with Lin Min, fellow Daoist Long bid farewell, and hurriedly left as well. Left in a hurry. I didn't dare to really offend him to the end either. After all the nearby alleys are under his protection. Sigh. Even late-stage key refining cultivators have started making preparations. It really looks like things are about to change drastically. The price of spiritual rice is rising. Although that's a good thing for me, it also means the environment around me is getting more and more hostile. I had a meal of spiritual rice, went to the bedroom, sat cross-legged on the meditation cushion and started practicing. Changchun Palace. There were still 2 faint mana entries left in my spiritual sea. Today's the day. With a thought, 1 weak mana entry disappeared. Mana from my danshan began to circulate again and again, constantly flushing and widening my meridians. Finally, boom! When the mana in my danshan accumulated to a certain critical point, it felt like a thin membrane was torn apart. 3rd layer of ki refining. The fluctuation of mana in my body rose to a higher level. Let out a long breath. How many years has it been? I finally don't have to be stuck at the 2nd layer of ki refining anymore. Can't help but reflect on how much has changed this past year. I've changed a lot. As long as I keep developing steadily, foundation establishment might not be impossible. Feeling the strengthened, over-doubled Changchun spiritual power in my danshan, I was happy but didn't lose my head. The 3rd layer of ki refining isn't stable yet. I still need to strengthen my power as soon as possible. The cultivation world is full of unpredictable changes. Low-level ki refining cultivators are like cannon fodder. At least you need to reach foundation establishment to barely have a foothold. In the end, I must control my own fate. Currently, being under someone else's roof brings a lot of inconveniences. You could get dragged into sect disputes at any time. And to be rid of Lingyu's sect's uncertainty and regain my freedom, I need to meet any one of these three conditions. First, break through to foundation establishment. Second, have any aspect of cultivation worth 1,000,000,000 reach tier 2. Third, turn in any kind of foundation establishment resource. I understand. I need to start working toward these three goals. Next, breaking through from 3rd to 4th layer of key refining is a huge challenge. Reaching the 4th layer marks stepping into mid-stage key refining. It's the first real bottleneck, much harder than just reaching the 3rd layer. Countless times more difficult. After 10 days, inside and outside the quarters, most cultivators already knew about the sharp price increases for spiritual rice and daily necessities. Even spiritual pills and blessing fortunes started going up. Ever since I grew beast fang rice, Supervisor Du Haifu has been checking these spiritual fields more and more frequently. Things haven't been peaceful lately. He even specifically added more patrols during this period, besides using the Supreme Lingyu technique to enhance the field's fertility. I've immersed myself in studying Lingyi knowledge. In no time, 3 months passed. Maybe it was just luck in the rice fields. During this time, I used up all 4 acres of second season Sprite rice and only got 2-week mana entries from the field. But fortunately, after advancing to the 3rd layer of key refining, my mana doubled, so it's not like before. When using my ultimate domain magical power, just couldn't hold on. Second season Sprite rice production hit a new high, reaching over 90. After paying taxes this time, I didn't rush to sell it, but kept more in storage, just in case. Recently, the price of spiritual rice in the quarters has skyrocketed, with an increase of over 60%. I made a small fortune. The number of rice cakes in my storage bag broke past 150 for the first time. And again at Manager Lau's, bought a low-grade golden light amulet and a low-grade magic weapon, the Kingling sword. Spent 25 spirit stones. These days you really need some self-defense gear. By the end of October, autumn was in the air. The crisp autumn wind drifted in. A layer of fallen leaves covered the mountains and forests. When the wind blew, they swirled and flew up, hiding the path winding up to the mountain top. At the same time, covering up some unusual traces on the path. The 3rd season of spiritual rice already has ripe heads. In another month, it can be harvested. Among the hundreds of golden acres on the hillside, there are always countless busy linglongs. This last season's yield is especially important. None of the linglong dare slack off. Almost every day they stay in the fields, sticking close to my 3rd season Sprite rice field. I remember in the Sprite rice field, only 1-week mana entry appeared, so the idea of quickly ripening Beast Fang rice fell through. Looking at the Beast Fang rice in front of me, the entries in the field were really tempting. Name, Beast Fang rice. Entry, Advanced Spiritual Language Art X Ripeness 28. Name, Beast Fang rice. Entry, Quality Enhancement X1, Ripeness 26. Name, Beast Fang rice. Entry, Ripening X Ripeness 33. And word about cultivating and selling Beast Fang rice has spread. In the quarters, some people have started paying attention to what's happening in this acre of fields. Just have to wait patiently. Currently, the reserves in the Stone Sea are 3-week mana entries. I'm currently performing the Ling Yu determination in the field. When I heard footsteps approaching behind me, I became alert, immediately stopped the magic technique, looked back. I saw a young man in a white robe, carrying a small bamboo basket, appear before my eyes. It was actually Master Sudan. What's he doing here? Master Sudan walked straight toward me and said bluntly, "Fellow Daoist Chen, I heard you successfully grew Beast Fang rice." I quickly saluted Master Sudan and replied modestly, "It was just luck." "No need to be so formal, Daoist Chen. I came here for the companion product of Beast Fang rice, the Qi Ling Du." It was the first time I'd heard of it, and was very surprised. Master Sudan explained, "Qi Ling Du is a rather rare alchemy auxiliary material. It can balance medicinal properties. Not many people know about it." Then, Master Sudan carefully examined the area around the Beast Fang rice field, walked around it once, stroked his chin thoughtfully, After a while, Master Sudan said in amazement, "Wow, Daos Chen. To be honest, your cultivation of beast fang rice really surprised me. The quality after it's ripe should be pretty good. Looks like you have a unique growing method." I felt a bit emotional. "I don't have a secret recipe, but I do have a secret I can tell." Master Sudan gently parted a leaf at the top of a beast fang rice plant, waved his hand, and signaled for me to come over. When I came closer, I saw at the base of the leaf, there really was a droplet of red dew like blood. So this is the Qiling dew. This is Qiling dew? I suddenly understood and said, "If you hadn't mentioned it, Master Sudan, I really wouldn't have known. The Lingi books didn't mention it at all. Collecting this Qiling dew doesn't harm the Lingi itself at all, and I just happen to need it for alchemy." "Daos Chin, could you let me collect some?" "I'm willing to pay 10 spirit stones for it," Master Sudan asked calmly. "Master Sudan, you're joking. Since this spiritual dew is useful to you, just take as much as you need." How could I let him spend his own spirit stones? Building a connection with such a promising alchemist is something I can only wish for. Besides, I got a rejuvenation pill for free last time. This is a perfect chance to return the favor. Since that's the case, I won't refuse then. With that, Master Sudan took out a jade porcelain bottle. Just as he was about to collect it, the Qiling dew rustled and shifted wildly. In the surrounding forest, the tree canopies began to tremble violently. It seemed like some kind of beast was leaping among the trees, heading straight toward the hundreds of acres of farmland. Master Sudan instantly stopped what he was doing. "What's going on?" My expression changed. I instinctively pulled out a golden light talisman. My brows furrowed tightly. A bad feeling crept over me. The spirit farmers on the mountain noticed something was off too. They all stopped what they were doing. Before they could even react, screech after screech, sharp shrieks echoed through the fields on the hillside. Dozens of monkeys covered in sickly, freakish fur suddenly burst out from the woods. Among them were a few demonic beasts, whose auras were even stronger. They were clearly mid-tier stage 1 demon beasts. This is bad. They're Fengu monkeys. It seemed Master Sudan recognized these creatures.
He slapped his storage pouch.
And a set of formation flags appeared in his hand. He immediately tossed them to the ground. A pale blue glow with a range of about 20 feet instantly appeared beneath our feet, enveloping him inside. Master Sudan shouted to me rapidly, "The golden light talisman won't work. Get in here quickly." I didn't hesitate. I immediately entered the barrier's range. Suddenly, the sounds outside were muffled. I hurriedly looked toward the nearby spirit fields. The frenzied screeches of the Fengu monkeys kept coming. One after another, arcing sound waves emanated from the mouths of the monkey horde. Any low-level cultivator hit by those waves immediately had their eyes turn blood red. If hit by the sound waves, they'd instantly become bloodshot. Their expressions grew twisted and vicious. Acting like madmen, they actually began to attack and slaughter each other. Chaos erupted instantly within the spirit fields. A lot of immature spiritual rice was destroyed. A mid-stage key refining worker tried to summon a flying sword or shield to escape, but was interrupted mid-spell by the sound waves, falling straight out of the air. Suddenly one of them, a Fengu monkey a head bigger than the others, leapt straight out from the fields, grabbed the cultivator in an instant, bared its crimson fangs, and bit through his neck with one savage chomp. Scarlet blood spurted everywhere. Eek, eek, eek! Sharp, piercing laughter echoed through the mountains. Watching this bloody and brutal scene, my scalp tingled with fear. My heart pounded frantically. Without hesitation, I just wanted to bolt. You can always plant more spirit rice, but if you're dead, that's it. But I froze suddenly. If I left Master Sudan's formation range right now, I'd definitely be in trouble, ending up no better than that cultivator. I hesitated for a moment. Looking back, I saw Master Sudan didn't look great, but he wasn't panicking. Did he have that much confidence in his formation? No need to panic. My formation can hold off those beasts for a while. Clearly, Master Sudan had read my mind and explained these are Fengu monkeys. Their most dangerous attack is the sound wave from their mouths. It can shake a person's soul, very sinister, and extremely hard to defend against. We just need to hold them for a bit. The Lingyu sect people should arrive soon. As soon as he finished speaking, 7 or 8 Fengu monkeys began gathering together, rushing toward the two of us, looking like they were about to surround and attack. And among them was the one that killed the cultivator just now, a mid-phase stage 1 Fengu monkey. 8 of them came at once. Now even Master Sudan's expression changed. I watched as these Fengu monkeys rampaged through the spirit fields without restraint, about to storm into my own field. I slapped my storage pouch at once, showing a hint of resolve in my eyes, and a small bronze cup spun into my hand. I formed a hand seal, and the small artifact instantly turned into a bell. With another hand seal, the artifact instantly turned into a large bell, holding steady in front of us midder. This was the beast controlling spell. So you want a shouting match? Let's see who's louder. A thunderous roar that shook the mountains boomed out of the bronze bell artifact. The sound was deafening, and the rumble continued without stopping. Centered around me, waves of sound spread out like a tidal surge, layer after layer crashing outward. The shrieks of the Fengu monkeys were drowned out completely. The demonic sound waves from the monkeys were instantly shattered. Nearby cultivators' red eyes faded away, and their minds gradually cleared up. The lower-level Fengu monkeys were scared off and scattered. The ones trying to break into our formation, the Fengu monkeys going for the two of us, who were closest to the magical artifact, were shocked so badly their fur stood on end, and they all looked absolutely terrified, trembling uncontrollably. But that mid-stage Fengu monkey, after a brief hesitation, just paused a few heartbeats. Then its viciousness returned, apparently unaffected. It let out another sinister laugh to the sky, trying to rally the monkey horde again, leaping at us once more. Clearly, it saw through the tactic of the beast control spell. Impressive sound, but little actual effect. No real damage was done. All bark and no bite. My goodness. Is this even a beast control spell? Feels more like the lion's roar technique, but upgraded with a loudspeaker. Even I was startled by it. Just one use of the beast control spell, and it instantly drained a fifth of my magic power. But at least it was effective on the first try, so I felt a bit more reassured. Fellow Taoist Chin, you actually know the beast control spell? Master Sudan behind me was amazed, his eyes roaming over me repeatedly. It only works sometimes. Master Sudan, you flatter me. Fellow Taoist Chin, be careful. Those Fengu monkeys are coming again. Hearing that, I immediately got ready, hurriedly channeled my magic, and cast another beast control spell. About half a cup of tea later, finally a giant magical ship crossed the sky, and a light flashed over instantly. A massive magic vessel sailed by. In a flash of light, it appeared above the spiritual field. Looking closely, it was Elder Jiyu from Lingyu sect. He brought outer disciples here as reinforcements. Arrived just in time, thankfully. I let out a long sigh of relief. I had just used all 5 charges of that beast repelling spell. They were completely exhausted. Now my face was pale. I felt an emptiness in my danshan. If it weren't for my Changchun arts granting me twice the power of ordinary cultivators. If Elder Jiyu and the others had been a moment later, I'd truly be out of spiritual energy. I was about to use those weak magic tokens just to hold on. This monster beast assault lasted less than half a quarter of an hour. Plus the strange soundwave attack. No one was prepared for it. No sign of them anywhere just days ago. You wicked beasts. You were hiding right under my nose. Elder Jiyu was clearly furious. This time, Lingshan suffered some heavy losses. As the head official over spiritual rice taxes, he would surely be punished by the sect.
Elder Jiyu flicked his finger.
A crimson flying sword shot from his hand. A streak of red light arced across the sky.
The sword
Pierced straight through the mid-level, rank 1, titled monkey leader. The air went silent. That titled monkey, from head to tail, glowed with a line of blood. It was actually split clean in 2 by 1 strike. The monkey's corpse collapsed motionless. Foundation establishment perfection. So terrifying. I stared blankly at Elder Jiyu's thunderous power. Totally. Stunned. The Lingyu sect's arrival signaled the end of this event. Elder Jiyu and his disciples swiftly swept the area and hunted down the titled monkeys. Not a single monkey escaped, who just used the beast-repelling spell. After clearing the scene, Elder Jiyu boarded the magic vessel. Before leaving, he turned and asked the crowd a question. I was pondering when I heard that. In the cultivation world, you can't show off your talents openly. I've always admired caution in dealing with matters. But unless it's absolutely necessary, only show as much as I can control myself. Never take risks for no reason. It was fellow Chin. We owe him for this. Thanks to Master Sudan. Master Sudan stepped forward and actually spoke up for me. So Master Sudan is here too. I was so upset earlier I didn't even notice. A rare hint of a smile appeared on Elder Jiyu's stiff face. That's the one who sold top-quality Linglong rice. He deserves a merit for this. His rice tax will be reduced by 10% this quarter. He squinted at me, but couldn't see anything special, then turned coldly to Du Haifu at his side and ordered. Du Haifu's expression was worse than eating crap. He quickly replied, yes, of course. Definitely will do. A 10% cut. Of course it means his share was reduced. What Master Sudan discussed with you still stands. If you change your mind, feel free to visit Lingian sect and find me. Elder Jiyu said to Master Sudan very seriously. I'm used to being easygoing. I really don't like being constrained. Let me think it over a bit more. All right, I have urgent matters to handle, so I'll take my leave. With that, Elder Jiyu departed, leading his disciples back to report in. I let out a sigh of relief, looking around at the hillside wrecked by the monkey horde. Only I and a handful of Linglong's spiritual fields were spared. 3 or 4 plots lost more than half their crops. Over a dozen Linglong on the mountain died at once, all driven mad by the tidal monkey's sound waves. They killed each other, looking at the bodies lying in the fields. I was struck by a hard-to-describe feeling. Sigh. These low-level spirit farmers just toil for survival. But a sudden disaster can wipe everything out. If Master Sudan hadn't recognized those monsters,
Today,
I'd probably have ended up like the other Linglongs outside. Alright, I wonder how old Sino 9 is doing. Suddenly remembered. Fellow Chin, we owe you this time. If it weren't for your beast-repelling spell, that broke the monkey's soundwave attack. If we let all those monsters attack together, we might not have survived today. Master Sudan walked over, kindly took out a bottle of key recovery pills, and handed them to me. I froze for a moment, hesitated, but didn't refuse, and took the pills from him, opened the jade bottle. There were 5 key recovery pills inside. I immediately poured one out, swallowed it on the spot. Poured one out, and swallowed it on the spot. Sat down to meditate. Restored my magic power. A moment later, some color returned to my pale face. Feeling quite a bit better. Master Sudan, you stay and collect red spirit dew. I'll go see if old Sino 9 is alright. Stood up. Let Master Sudan know. And hurried off toward old Sai's plot. What I didn't expect was, halfway down the mountain path, I ran right into old Sino 9. He looked battered and covered in dirt. Even had some cuts on him. Really looking a mess. Hobbling forward with a stick he picked up.
he limped his way up.
When old Sai saw me, and found me perfectly fine, bouncing along, he was instantly in total disbelief. No way, how are you totally unscathed, kid? Old Sai had been worried about my safety. Now he just couldn't accept it. Old Sai, you alright? Not too badly hurt, are you? No idea where those crazy monkeys came from. Glad you're okay. Seeing it was just some minor injuries, I felt relieved. What do you mean okay? Some bastard got bewitched by the monkeys and jabbed my butt with a kitchen staff stick. Damn it. Let me find out who it was. Old Sai held his waist with one hand and leaned on a nearby tree with the other, complaining unhappily. Hey, you haven't answered me yet. How are you totally fine? What? Are those monkeys your relatives or something? Couldn't bear to attack you. I was speechless. I replied it was just luck. I happened to run into Master Sudan. If he hadn't been there, you'd probably be burning incense for me by now. At my funeral, I mean, what Master Sudan? Why was he at your field? Old Sai didn't get it. So I patiently explained he came looking for red spirit deer. Wait, you actually grew beast fang rice? I told him the whole story. You actually grew beast fang rice? Old Sai was stunned. He was shocked yet again. He's been here more than 10 years. And tried cultivating beast fang rice too. Every attempt ended in failure. But when he got to the back of the mountain, saw my plot, where beast fang rice was already half grown, he was at a total loss for words. That's right, he's jealous. Qinming, you're no friend, man. And I even gave you booze. You never told me you grew beast fang rice. He grumbled, still not letting it go. I greeted Sultan enthusiastically. Then he quickly leaned in close to my ear. He secretly asked, "Where did you get the spirit seeds for beast fang rice?" I looked at him, a little dazed. Bought them from manager Liao. Took a leap of faith. Basically bet everything I had. Man, you really have incredible luck. You actually managed to grow it. I honestly don't know what to say about you. I smiled wryly. Alright, when the beast fang rice is ripe, I'll treat you to a meal at Juxuan Pavilion. You really mean it, huh? Only then did old Sai finally let it go. 2 days later, the turmoil caused by the beast attack subsided. Lin Yeoman set up some simple formation arrays around the perimeter of the fields. After this incident, the desire to increase my strength grew even stronger. Without a trump card, there's no sense of security. Life and death can happen at any moment, with the danger of annihilation. Adopting a clear strategy, I once again arrived at the ruined family compound. Knocked on the big red lacquered door. Soon, a middle-aged cultivator opened the door. He was at the 7th level of key refining. His face looked somewhat worn out, with an experienced look in his eyes, and half of his hair already white. Fellow Daoist, who are you looking for? What brings you here? I cupped my hands in greeting. I got straight to the point. Are you Daoist Ruin? My surname is Qin, introduced by manager Liao. I heard you have a body refining technique for sale, so I've come to visit. Daoist Ruin hesitated for a moment, then welcomed me into the compound. Once inside, the place felt bleak and desolate. Other than Daoist Ruin in front of me, there was no one else. Since you were introduced by manager Liao, I suppose he told you as well. Unless there's medicine or spiritual materials to boost your vitality, otherwise you'll be disappointed. Ruin Daoist looked me over, but couldn't figure much out. That's only natural. May I ask if you could introduce this technique, so I can consider it properly? I asked, feeling a bit awkward. Daoist Ruin sighed heavily. He pointed inside the compound, his voice full of sorrow. Then he said bluntly, "This once great family business of mine has ended up like this, all because of this technique."
He then took out a piece of beast hide from his storage bag
and showed it to me. He continued, "This technique is called the 100 Treasures Glazed Sutra. It has been passed down in my family for generations. For each generation, our ancestors treated it as a priceless treasure. The exact origins are no longer known. However, to cultivate this technique, one must meet a rather harsh prerequisite, which is, you must have rare treasures that boost vitality as support. Only then can you practice it." As Daoist Ruin explained further, I gradually formed an assessment of the technique. The 100 Treasures Glazed Sutra is completely different from any body refining method I've seen before. It doesn't temper the flesh, doesn't open acupoints, nor does it strengthen the bones and muscles. Instead, it replaces blood. Every treasure refers to special vitality-boosting materials, and they must be of at least a certain grade. The higher the grade, the better. So-called blood replacement means circulating and enhancing your blood essence. When it reaches a certain level, you enter the marrow refining stage. Old blood gets replaced with new blood. By continually boosting your essence and compressing it to the limit, your blood becomes as thick as paste, surpassing the human limit, breaking through to a new level. Glazed refers to, after the transformation, the body becomes as clear as glass. After reaching the 5th layer, as the blood transforms multiple times, you can even condense a glazed treasure robe outside your body. It repels evil, is immune to all poisons, and is nearly indestructible. It even has some anti-magic effects. against spells. I was secretly amazed. If cultivated to a high level, your body would be flawless, shining with divine light, and have almost unimaginable physical power. Eventually, you'd achieve a pure glass body, but that's according to the manual. No one has ever actually reached that level. That's exactly why. The spiritual materials required for this technique are an astronomical amount. Taoist Ruin said unhurriedly. Calling it a bottomless pit is no exaggeration. If you can't guarantee a long-term supply of these materials, then I advise you to give up. With the amount of money and effort you'd spend, you could buy more than one top-tier technique. Even after such a heavy investment, you still might not succeed. That's why it's a bit of a waste. Besides, this technique is only an incomplete version. The 100 Treasures Glazed Sutra has 12 layers in total. This beast hide only contains the first 9 levels for body cultivation during the key refining period. After hearing all this, I fell into deep thought. I don't really lack spiritual materials. I can just accelerate their growth. What costs others a fortune to obtain those resources turns out to be my advantage. All in all, as long as there's enough essence-boosting spiritual materials, I shouldn't have any trouble progressing quickly in this technique. May I ask something bluntly? Excuse me for asking, fellow Taoist Ruin, but what level have you reached in your cultivation now? When fellow Taoist Ruin was asked this, he replied with a touch of emotion, sighing. Over the years, I've spent my entire family fortune, spending thousands of spirit stones in total, running all over to gather materials to boost my vitality, and I've only managed to reach the 3rd level. So in your family, has anyone ever cultivated this technique to the 5th level? No, no one has. Right now, I'm the only one to have reached the highest level. I instantly understood why he was selling it so cheap. After thinking it through carefully, I said decisively, 100 spirit stones and 10 pounds of beast fang rice. How about I buy this technique from you? What? You actually have beast fang rice? Hearing this, fellow Taoist Ruins, previously dispirited look instantly vanished. He immediately perked up. His eyes suddenly brightened. Indeed, the beast fang rice isn't ripe yet, but I've already managed to plant it successfully. It's just a matter of time, I said calmly. A look of delight appeared on fellow Taoist Ruin's face. Since you have it as a sweetener, then of course the exchange can go through. But 10 pounds is a bit little. It would need to be at least 20 pounds of beast fang rice. Fellow Taoist Ruin thought for a moment, and raised his offer. I frowned at his words, and turned to leave immediately. This guy is trying to take advantage of me. 20 pounds of beast fang rice? That's just outrageous. The price of beast fang rice is already 10 times that of spirit rice. And right now, all sorts of resources in the market are skyrocketing. A pound is going for at least 5 spirit stones or more. Baibao Liuli gold might sound nice, but no one has ever managed to refine it. Once you start cultivating, it basically means you'll be burning spirit stones non-stop. Even after several generations, the Ruin family could only reach the 3rd level. Though I'm a bit interested, a little interested, the price he asked is way beyond what I'd expected. Seeing that I turned to leave without another word, walking straight out, fellow Taoist Ruin got anxious. He silently berated himself, thinking he shouldn't have asked such a high price at once. Hey. Fellow Taoist Chin, can't we discuss this? Don't be in such a hurry to leave. Please wait a moment. Fellow Taoist Ruin quickly stopped me. Alright, I'll compromise. How about I throw in another 15 pounds of lean spirit rice? I didn't answer when I heard that, just quietly looked at him. Seeing my reaction, seeing I was totally unmoved, he was left with no choice. Young people these days are really so impulsive. He knew that was already my bottom line. Fellow Taoist Ruin let out a deep sigh, and after hesitating for a while, he muttered reluctantly, Never mind, my family has kept this technique for so long, but no one has ever been able to make anything out of it. Maybe my family just doesn't have enough luck. Fine, we'll do it as fellow Taoist Chin says. 100 spirit stones plus 10 pounds of beast fang rice.
He made a look of coming to terms with it.
I smiled slightly and said deal. So when can you hand over the beast fang rice, fellow Taoist Chin? Fellow Taoist Ruin finally let out a sigh of relief and asked slowly, "It'll be about 2 years or so?" After thinking for a moment, I said that being the case, how about you first pay me the 100 spirit stones, fellow Taoist Chin, and I'll copy the first 5 levels of the technique for you. You can come pick up the rest when your shawiya rice is ready. That was pretty much what I had in mind anyway. What do you say? Fellow Taoist Ruin considered it for a moment and offered a compromise. I nodded and agreed straightforwardly. Then I took out 100 spirit stones from my storage bag and handed them to fellow Taoist Ruin. As I passed over the stones, I kept a straight face, looking generous and easygoing, but inside I was almost heartbroken. Those spirit stones were so hard for me to save up. So hard to save. And now I was basically down to nothing. Fellow Taoist Ruin put away the spirit stones, took out a jade slip, and handed it to me with a big smile. I took the jade slip, placed it on my forehead, and carefully checked it using spirit energy. Compared it over and over with the technique on the beast's skin. After confirming it was right, the deal was done. After some small talk, I left the ruin estate. Arriving back at the Shanti area, life returned to ordinary farming days. In my one moo field of shawiya rice, label, beast fang rice, entry, advanced leader Lingyu technique. X maturity, 35, label, shawiya rice, entry, quality enhancement X1 maturity, 32, label, shawiya rice, entry, accelerate growth X maturity, 40. Each day I observed these 3 entries, watching them get closer to maturity day by day. That gave me peace of mind. In the next 2 years, I already had a plan. As long as the field rolls out an accelerate growth entry, I'd secretly transplant a bit and accelerate a small batch of beast fang rice to use for cultivation. Just move a few hundred plants. No one else would notice anyway. Of course, I had to move those 3 plants with entries. Accelerating sprout rice. The field has another accelerate growth X with the spirit seeds and the entries. I could keep accelerating their growth in turn. If the environment around me weren't getting more unstable, I wouldn't even be in such a rush. Just 2 years, I can wait. But right now, I can't afford to wait any longer. Though I don't go looking for trouble, trouble may just come to me. The cultivation world situation changes in the blink of an eye. Even the higher-ups of the sect are fighting over this. And now even this small Qingying district is affected. I still want to be in charge of my own fate, hold my destiny firmly in my hands. A few months later, finally the last season's japonica rice ripened this year. This time, unlike before. The last season's japonica rice ripened this year. This time, unlike before. Elder GU of the Linyu sect and supervisor Du Haifu were already waiting by the fields. Behind them, a number of disciples guarded the area. With Elder GU watching, all the spirit farmers began the harvest. As the evening glow rose, the spirit rice was all harvested. Du Haifu came around to collect taxes from everyone. The last season, my output of spirit rice rose again, breaking through 10 shi and another 90 jin. And this season, Elder GU even spared us 1/10 of the spirit rice tax. After paying the tax, I still had 320 jin of spirit rice left in hand. With the total from all 3 seasons this year, I made it into the top 10 rankings. When Du Haifu collected taxes this time, his attitude was totally different from before. He kept calling me Zhao Qin and was overly sweet about it. Of course, being able to make it straight into the top 10, the credit also goes to the Marquis brainwashing. Only my field and a few others stayed intact. Elder GU checked the numbers with no losses, and his strict face showed no emotion at all. He then announced coldly, "The spirit rice ranking for this year has all been tallied. You can all check the bottom 30 rankings for yourselves. Cultivators, get on the boat and come with me." Even if the fields were raided by spirit beasts, the Linyu sect has no mercy for low-level Lingnong. Not the slightest leniency. Those bottom 30 looked blankly at the rankings on the screen, each of them completely lost. They knew very well what kind of fate awaits them. I watched these lingnong, feeling a mix of emotions inside. Suddenly, my eyes turned determined. I turn my head and pat Sai Laoju next to me and say, "Stop watching. Let's go, Qinming. Do you think there will be a day when the two of us will also be one of those 30 people? Become one of those 30 people." Sai Laoju's voice is a bit hoarse. Suddenly asks. My body pauses. I don't say anything. If I didn't have a cheat ability, maybe what just happened was the answer. The final fate of an ordinary person. Cattle and horses in times of peace. Cannon fodder in troubled times. Exploited in daily life. Sacrificed in wartime. Ancient spring sunlight. The small mountains bring a hint of green. Spring arrives early in the new year. The first batch of Jinling rice has already been sown. After a month, the 4 mu of spirit farmland have sprouted tender shoots. Name, spirit rice. Trait, accelerated growth. Ripeness, 3. Name, spirit rice. Trait, weak magic power. Ripeness, 3. Staring at the 2 traits in the field, feeling incredibly excited inside. After 3 months, the spirit rice matures. I can harvest 1 accelerated growth trait and 1 weak magic power trait. This means I can harvest a batch of longevity sprout rice early. Linglong's days are dull and boring. Every day is spent either tending the spirit fields or fully devoted to cultivation. In my sea of consciousness, there are 4 weak magic power trait strips, white leaf-shaped pieces. If I use one, it would be equal to a whole year of hard cultivation. But I didn't do that. To break through to the 4th level of key refinement, I'm still far from having enough power. This bit of magic power is just a drop in the bucket. Better to save it for emergencies. Near the spirit field, a blue magic sword is being controlled with power, flipping and spinning through the air. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This is the basic artifact control spell most cultivators know. In the past, I couldn't even afford the lowest grade magic sword. But things are different now. I can finally enjoy wielding a flying sword, brandishing the kindling sword. It streaks a blue arc over the lake, strikes a nearby huge rock with 1 slash, slices off a small chunk immediately. Slices off a small chunk immediately. Yeah, it feels pretty good to use. But controlling the magic power still feels clunky, still not quite smooth. I put away the kindling sword, take out a cloth, and start wiping it while muttering. Scenes of Elder Jiu's scarlet flying sword, slashing a throat in 1 blow appear in my mind. Now that's truly smooth and flawless. Of course, this low-grade sword, compared to Elder Jiu's, which is at least high-grade, and probably magic artifact level, it's basically a toy. There's no comparison at all. I put away the kindling sword and practiced the beast taming spell for a while. Without any trait support, this spell is really hard to perform, though it's tough to master. But as a spirit herb cultivator like Linglong, there's no way I'd give up training it. It saved my life last time. Who knows when it might come in handy again. Time flies by. Another 3 months have passed. The spirit rice matures. Ever since I broke through to the 3rd level of key refinement, along with using advanced spirit rice, I've gotten more skilled. Each quarter's rice yield keeps steadily rising. This season, besides harvesting the accelerated growth and weak magic power traits, 2 white porcelain strips, I've also harvested over 110 jin of spirit rice. After paying taxes, I still have over 390 jin left, including last year's stock. My spirit rice inventory exceeds 700 jin now. I've now achieved freedom with spirit rice. I can eat it whenever I want. The price of spirit rice in the market remains high. Planning to sell off some more. Manager Liao's desire for spirit rice is even stronger than for pills or magic weapons. And fellow Daoist Long has also come to me several times, but still couldn't get any rice. Next time, I'll have to give him some. Otherwise, it'd be too embarrassing. One evening, I secretly transplanted several hundred longevity sprout rice plants, including those 3 with the traits, into my own small courtyard. Name: longevity sprout rice trait, advanced spirit language ripeness. X. Longevity sprout rice trait, advanced spirit language ripeness. 38. Name: longevity sprout rice trait, quality boost X1, ripeness. 39. Name: longevity sprout rice trait, Accelerated growth, ripeness, 45. Everything is ready. I used the accelerated growth trait on the 3 with trait strips. Only used 1 on these 3 stalks. They should be ready to harvest soon. Under some nervous stares, wild pig's longevity sprout rice grows crazily. It shoots up for half a day, only slowing down once it reaches 0 years of age. Name: wild pig's longevity sprout rice. Trait: advanced spirit language ripeness, 90. Name: wild pig's longevity sprout rice trait quality boost X1, ripeness, 92. Name: wild pig's longevity sprout rice trait accelerated growth, ripeness, 93. At this rate, the effect of accelerated growth hasn't fully faded. It should be ready to harvest by tomorrow morning. The next morning, I go to check the courtyard. The 3 longevity sprout rice stalks are fully mature. They've borne a bountiful harvest of longevity sprout rice. My first time growing a first-grade, low-grade spirit herb. I'm a little excited inside. I carefully peel away the husk of a beast tooth rice grain and examine it closely. The mature beast tooth rice is as big as a dog's tooth, much bigger than regular spirit rice. Pure white as snow, crystal clear, shaped like a beast's tooth. A thin layer of spiritual energy shimmers on the surface, and a bright crimson glows from within, emitting a unique light fragrance. That must be the source of its blood-boosting effect. Though the quality is good, but those grown with accelerated growth are still only common grade. When classified according to grade, they are divided into ordinary, premium, and superb. Swallowed nervously. Premium and superb. Gulped down nervously. Put the spirit rice away, and gently pick the 3 longevity sprout rice plants. With that, 3 green trait strips quietly appear in my sea of consciousness. Now comes the real beginning. Suppressing my excitement.
Next.
I focus on the other hundreds of longevity sprout rice stems. This time, I used an accelerated growth trait and a quality boost trait. After 2 hours, the longevity sprout rice grows crazily in the courtyard. Maybe my luck is back again. Once again, unbelievable good luck. Among these hundreds of longevity sprout rice stalks, 2 of them actually developed trait strips. Name: longevity sprout rice trait weak blood power, ripeness, 50. Name: longevity sprout rice trait weak blood power, ripeness, 52. I'm amazed. These trait strips are always closely tied to the next step in my cultivation journey. They're just perfect. Blood power is exactly what I need now. When the accelerated growth trait is spread over hundreds of plants, the effect is somewhat slower. 7 days later, a small patch of longevity sprout rice is fully mature in the courtyard. I can't hide my excitement anymore. This is premium longevity sprout rice. Name: longevity sprout rice trait weak blood power, ripeness, 100. Ready to harvest. Name: longevity sprout rice trait weak blood power, ripeness, 100. The surface of the premium longevity sprout rice now has several crimson patterns, red and white interlaced. Incredibly beautiful. Its spiritual energy and blood-boosting properties are 3 times those of regular longevity sprout rice, able to greatly boost blood power. With excitement in my heart, I quickly harvest several hundred longevity sprout rice plants. This batch nets 6 gin of premium longevity sprout rice. For the next half month, I repeat the process step by step, saving some premium longevity sprout rice as seeds.